Hi, Beck Mack here at MILANI Gallery, and this is the first POPSART of 2023. Feeling a little bit rusty, but luckily I'm with a very amazing artist who is very fabulous at talking about the work. Judy Watson, how are you?
Good, thank you.
Are you easy into 2023 like me?
No, just been racing non-stop.
I know, and you're opening today, so that's been a busy month for you.
Yeah, it has. But it's been great. Great getting back into it. Just love making work in the studio and throwing things around and getting it all together and then throwing it up on the wall and having somebody else clean out the crap and make it all look beautiful.
Well, it looks so beautiful, and that word I know is used a lot, but beauty is really powerful here, and it's soft and it's tranquil, but you can also feel a really undercurrent of truth and understanding about the history in the past. You know, I can see it there. Is this sort of what you're exploring?
Yeah, it's very much to do with Brisbane and this area, this region, but it's also the Gulf country over here, rivers of the Gulf. So that's my Aboriginal country, one-year country. Yeah. There's a lot of things that are sort of quite personal, but this one over here is Paris. It's about sort of a very, very old map of the River Seine, when there were 7 islands in the River Seine. And that was part of a body of work that went to the Palais de Tokyo, and so I wanted to show something which alluded to that history. And this one here is, it's the dead tree, and it's actually about the Burrum River up in North Queensland, not that far north. Yeah. And it's where my dad's family, my non-Aboriginal family, came and did some coal mining and had a farm on the Burrum River. And it's very much a sentinel in that area, but it's also talking about climate change and the erosion of the beach in that area and along many parts of the east coast of Australia. So this tree, my father, who was, the youngest of 7, remember standing on the roots of the tree fishing when it was close to the beach. Now it's right out in the sand flats, and so you can see how much erosion has happened in that area. And it's very prevalent along the east coast, and yet in the north coast, you'll find that the river siltation pushes out. And so what were Aboriginal campsites on the coast actually are way inland now. So really interesting how it's changing, sort of with tidal action, etc. And these works here, this is, you can see the Brisbane River coming through. These are Australian average temperature anomalies, 1910 to 2019. This is large freshwater mussel shells, which are filtering, fresh water. And through here is a spectrogram, and it's Helena Goulash, Auntie Helena, saying in language gila, which is a word for native bee light-coloured. And that same spectrogram is on this one here as well. So it's gila, native bee, light-coloured. Here you've got the Brisbane River again, but you've also got some of the creeks coming off it. Yeah. And what was interesting was one near Norman Creek around there. It was called, in this early map, Humbug Reach. And I haven't seen that in later ones, but I sort of really wonder, why was it called Humbug Reach? So that's something to research and find out. And you can see the cazurina branch here. It's almost like it's been burnt, sort of the prevalence of bushfires, etc. But it's also talking about aquaculture in the places like Breakfast Creek, where Aboriginal people would have huge amounts of cazurina branches and trunks lying across the creek to encourage mangrove worms. Right. And mangrove worms known as kanyi in this area, in this language here, down in Cabramatta area, it's cobra, the cobra grub, which is why Cabramatta came to be. Yes. So, different in different places, and it's a, really important sort of source of sustenance, as in, freshwater mussels and things like that too. And this one over here, back to this one, you can see this strange, almost like a sea creature on the side. That's actually the map of Moreton Bay. Right. From Brisbane Airport. Oh, okay. So you can see down through the centre there. Yep. Here again is the Brisbane River. Yes. Here are the other creeks. And this is the mapping of Moreton Bay, or Quandamooka country, and as it hits the islands, and it's the mouth of it.
I love that. That is so intriguing on so many levels. And I guess when I look at just hearing you talk and looking at the work, there's such a play between perspective and space, like aerial and then close-ups, and the work you do with the archival materials, but then also the more traditional, like your First Nations cultural references. But at the same time, it seems to work so well because you are looking at the past, the now, and the future. Is this something that you're playing with as you work?
I think that for everybody, we exist in this time, but we're also impacted upon by everything that's gone before and everything that's happening around us now. And these two works here were also hanging in the forest, during the Horizon Festival in a different iteration, where they were hanging between trees and talking about climate change. And then since then, I've just gone in and you can see the shibori dying and all the mark of the nets and things like that, the indigo that is upon them, and the eco dyeing, which was on some of these ones here, which is where you use leaves or plants and then sort of roll them up and put them in hot water, which boils and then it releases. And also you can see the mark of the steel or the iron. So my nephew, Dan Watson, is a knife maker. Look up Dan Watson Instagram, you see he makes these beautiful knives. Yeah. And so the rust or the sort of the steel filings, throwing them in, and then suddenly they give this beautiful tinge and shimmer to the work itself.
Yeah, it's so beautiful. So much going on there. And again, I'm just drawn to the concept of non-linear time within your work. Like you're really capturing everything in one moment. It really is quite powerful to stand here and feel the energy of these works. Like they're works that really work in the space, don't they?
Yeah, well, everything, everywhere, all the time.
I was thinking that. I nearly said that. Did you see that?
Yeah.
This is so good.
So good.
But it is that, like it really is that. And like as you've got so much knowledge and understanding of the past and your traditional culture, and it's just so such great storytelling, but at the same time, it really drills home a message. What are the messages that you're conveying?
I think it's respect for country and land, people, history, and trying to embody that so that everybody learns from it and is nourished and also has a deeper understanding, which will give them a greater feeling of confidence within themselves and sort of where they're placing their feet, sort of knowing. It's like that thrumming of the earth and realising there's so many ancestors, sort of hearts and sort of feet beating underneath, and just being aware, even where we are here at 270 Montague Road, MILANI Gallery, it was an Aboriginal walking track. So we're walking, and where you would have walked here, walking in the same path that everybody has walked before. So just being aware of that.
It's quite healing and cathartic on many levels.
Yeah. I think it sort of just gives you almost a sense that somebody's got your back, there's people behind you, it's not just you here. You are standing in the place of the ancestors. And once you realise that, I would hope that people feel a sense of connection.
Yeah. And in the making of the work, like you correct me if I'm wrong, lay the canvases on the ground, like so there's a real interaction between yourself and the work that's not traditional. How does that work for you?
Yeah, there's a lot of trampling, a lot of dancing. Put the music on, lots of dancing.
Well, I've seen you dance, Judy, and I can understand why you're dancing.
Yeah, it's fun. Like I try and make everything fun and trying to sort of, it's like exploding it out and then it's coming back to it. So sometimes there's layers. In the terms of some of these ones here, they've had many lives. They've been hanging in sort of rainforest area, and then they come and they get trampled and they get sort of this one over here. You can see Tor McLean, who worked on this one with me, Dan's partner, grabbed some of his, sort of the knife filings and used them to delineate a temperature graph. So it's playing with that. And the indigo spine, and you can see around here the red spine over here as well. That's the bunya. That's the bunya leaf, and this is a kangaroo grass. So the spine comes back to that story that my grandmother, Grace Isaacson, talked about when she was young, 5 or 6. Her mother, Mabel Daly, took her and little baby Daisy and little brother Paddy running away from Riversley Station because of violence, and also the kids had been threatened and had to be hidden a number of times from the police from being taken away. And she said that her mother would, they followed rivers and creeks to go to another property, but her mother would catch fish. She also caught birds and other things, but with the fish, Mabel was a little woman, and she'd hold the tail, and the rest of the barramundi was right down her back. So they were very, very good at fishing. And she said that her mum, Mabel, would give us the flesh off the backbone. She gave us the best of what she had. So that's why I've sort of really used that image of the spine. In this case, it could be, sort of also the bunya leaf, which it is, but it's not just that. It's almost a personification of that strength and resilience that women have, trying to keep their family close to them and sustain them and, hold on to country, hold on to culture. And that's not just within Aboriginal culture. You see that happening everywhere. Yeah.
It's like a bridge, isn't it? Like connecting. And I love how it's it's out of the frame at the top and then it comes down and it does leave the frame. So it's continuous. Like, that is so beautiful.
Yeah. But obviously the red one here, and you've got the little marks, that can allude to other things as well. I hope that you feel like it's also talking about other things. You can read it as a massacre and, sort of what is there. The kangaroo grass that I've used in a number of places here too is also something, that was overlooked by many, Major Michaud and all those people who came through and saw Aboriginal people using these grasses and the resources, and then thinking, oh, we can do better. We'll bring in wheat and we'll bring in sheep and we'll, so it's trying to look back at what was here and what can sustain all of us. And people all around Australia and all around the world are starting to look at that. And I hope more of that happens, that we see what's here, what's appropriate for this climate, for these soils, and what is going to sustain everybody.
Absolutely. And I think that's more crucial than ever as we come into a space now with the call for the referendum for the voice of Parliament. There's things going on in Alice Springs at the moment that are very problematic for the community. It feels like the community's still not being heard or listened to. Yet, as you're saying, there's so much knowledge that we still choose to ignore as white people. What do you think the best way forward is, really?
I think listening and talking to people. A lot of the community is saying that, say in Alice Springs or, Mount Isa, I know it's happening there as well, when there isn't opportunities for the young people or for other people, that's what needs to be created. Yeah.
Exactly. I completely agree, and we've got a long way to go on that. But I know you've got your big night. I could keep talking. I've just got one quick question because I know you've got to go. But Paris, how is that?
That was fantastic. There was quite a few of us artists over there at the Palais de Tokyo. Had the most amazing space, and our work within it, when it was put up, it just sung, and it's sort of overhead. There, it allows light to come through. Have a look online. And so because of the light coming through, it just changes all the time, and it's almost like musical notes of light moving around the space. And so every time you see it, it's different. But it was...
The French would have loved that.
They did. But I loved their, being in the room. Mick and Cope had a big work in the middle. Ioane Scarce, Dee Harding. There were many artists there and from around the world. So have a look online at that Reclaim the Earth exhibition.
And it's so beautiful that we can celebrate and be part of this work here in Brisbane, but also amazing that you're now going global with the work that you do, and the rest of the world can get to understand more about who we are.
Yeah, well,
Thank you.
A lot of these works are actually going to Gwangju Biennale next in Korea. Yeah.
Superstars. Congratulations. Thank you so much.